It's shaky. Okay, so hello everybody. This is my second raw and real Satya'delics episode on my YouTube channel. Welcome. So I feel really inspired. We just had a conversation with my ladies in the Master Muse 2.5 hour long call. And I really feel inspired. And we mentioned the YouTube channel and we mentioned the act of creativity from a place of realness. And here I am attempting to create from that space. And so many things happened since my last video. First of all, I have been traveling, but second of all, something came up. I even wanted to take down the video, and I felt shame, and I felt, like a lot of like little chatters in my head. And I'll tell you why, but before I want to share, like, this is the whole point. This is the whole point of this raw and real. And I want to be seen in that. And here's the thing, even though there's a part of me that wants to be seen in that, my rawness, my realness, my depth, and there are so many parts that don't feel safe in that, and I'm cultivating capacity. And that video was, I didn't realize it then, but it was an edge to leave it. And you can go back and see it. So a few things that I'm going to cover here. One of the reasons why I felt shame and I'm like, should I take it down? Is I was so fidgety. And I have been feeling really fidgety. I don't know if you were actually experiencing that as well. And I have been actually tracking this. I'm not the only one experiencing this, but I thought I was the only one that was like, oh, I'm not grounded enough. Oh, I'm not this enough. I am scratching my head, which I have psoriasis in my scalp. So I itch and scratch my head a lot. And that this is part of it. Like, being on a longer form content and being myself, being real. This is my office. This is where I take my calls with my clients. This is where I sit and read. And here's my little owl. I'm going to be doing another painting here tomorrow. So, and I'm naturally a very energetic person. I have a lot of energy. And if you're following human design, I'm a generator. And I wake up and I'm like, wow, like I am naturally that person. And that being combined with being so sensitive to the energies around, which also that being combined to being an open emotional center and like empathy key, if you're following Jinkies, empathy key is, one of the main points in my chart. So I really feel a lot. Feel other people feel a lot. I mean, when I'm on my own, I don't feel that much of like, movement. But when there's energies, like there's just a lot happening in my system, which is my gift. But at this time of a lot of energies moving on planet Earth, and the wars and a lot of upheaval, we are not separate from that. And I first, when I was rewatching that video, I felt shame. And I'm like, oh, I'm not as grounded. And what are they gonna think about me? They, those people, they are always the, like the anti-you. That's inside of me, that part, that anti-you inside, it lives inside of me. And I was like, you know what? That's why it's raw and real. I'm going to put it and I'm going to actually talk about it. First of all, I'm always going to itch and scratch until somehow I cure my psoriasis in my scalp, because it is in this moment, it's itching. And I'm a fire, like a lot of fire in my system, in my blueprint. And being in a fire horse year, there's a lot of energies moving. And even though I have mustered a certain level of energetic mastery and understanding, I am not a master in anything. I am a human being, like responding to life as I go. So I'm going to make that okay for myself. I'm going to be compassionate with myself. I'm going to love myself in it. And I'm going to be teaching and living from my edges. And that's what I want to do. I want to evolve through beyond my edges. And this is an edge, like creating for YouTube. And these days, creating anything is an edge because I am really moving through a massive identity expansion. And with every expansion, there's a certain level of vulnerability and like that soft skin, like pink underbelly of the snake as they shed skin. There's a certain level of new vulnerability that I'm feeling in my new version. And I want to be seen in that, and I want to make it okay for all of us, right? And I work with a lot of creatives, entrepreneurs, visionaries who are a little out there. And we are supposed to be a little out there. And we're supposed to be leading from the unknown. I have been writing and teaching about this for a long time. If you want to go and like read my Substack that I used to post 2-3 years ago, there is still a through line in everything that I'm teaching because it is my life. I'm teaching from my own personal learnings, even though I have been touching into this like notion of the parts of my story that I feel comfortable sharing and the parts of my story that I don't feel comfortable sharing. Like, what is the sensational experience inside of my body? How can I lead from the edge? How can I share a little bit of more of my story and create more connection? Because one of the things that I'm recognizing as Satya, like really, everything that I have experienced in life and everything that I have been, red-tailed hawk. So good. I have a very special connection with red-tailed hawk and hawks in general. I'll actually show you something. A hawk gifted itself to me, but that's a different story. I want to come to the story and make a point because I tend to jump from one thing to another, and I'm also tracking the hawk. It's so good. It is in the tree right now. I lost my, location for it. So many reasons why that I follow the thread of my intuition and in the inspiration. And sometimes I make the point, sometimes I don't. But also I do trust the channel. I do trust the unfolding of the information that it usually closes the loop somewhere very unexpectedly. Like when I do that, I don't do it intentionally. And I'm like, whoa, I went all the way down only to come back again. And sometimes I don't. And that means I'm not supposed to, talk about that. So, you see me jumping from topic to topic. I think that is also part of the way that I be in the world and the way that I think, the way that I weave things, information in different modalities, different ways of thinking and being inside of me. That's how I experience life. And so like if you're like, I don't know what she was going to say and she didn't say it, that may be the case. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to say it. Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about that in this moment. It's a riff. Like I am just like being in the moment and following that. But coming back to the parts of my story that I feel comfortable sharing, and the parts of my story that I don't feel comfortable sharing, I have been doing this like somatic writing and connection with those parts. And that's part of my work that I offer to the world, like this somatic internal family system. This is part of the way in which that I see the world and my internal experience, and support creatives and visionaries. So in my experience, I have zero, not zero, but less edge being seen in my teachings, being seen in my place of power as a teacher, as a mentor. You know, there's a power dynamic that happens when you are sitting in that throne of like, I am leading this. The way that I show up and the way that it comes to me is easier. Yet, when I am like, okay, I want to lead from this pink underbelly, that's not a really easy way to tell the stories or be. So my YouTube project is actually, I would like to be consistent in that, because I actually want to lead from that pink underbelly and learn how to be comfortable while telling the stories in a whole new way, where it used to be not comfortable, but now it's comfortable. It's because I'm also like integrating my own stories, but also cultivating capacity and creating connection. And those are the parts usually when I share, because to share it with one-on-one and like with the people that you feel comfortable and safe with is one thing. And to share it with the world who you don't know who's on the receiving end on this is another thing. So I am in this process of like really cultivating that capacity within myself. And this, even sharing this, is the part of my story that doesn't feel that comfortable sharing this. And one of the conversations that we were having, and I am in a deep research, is leadership and power dynamics. So I am a student of Gene Keys, Richard Rudd's Gene Keys teachings have been such an important portion of my journey since 2018. 2018, when I started actually really reading. 2016 is when I learned about like the existence of human design and Gene Keys, but I wasn't studying as I am now. So Gene Key 44, Synarchy, is the highest form of like the most evolved form of hierarchy and leadership. And this is a key that is unfolding in this moment. I mean, all of the keys are unfolding in this moment, yet, like as it pertains to our visionary leadership and leading together and creating a whole new way of being in the world, or creating a whole new world as leaders who are all sitting in their place of power. And when there is two or more people in the room, there are power dynamics, whether you are recognizing it or not. And I have been in this study for so long, not knowing like, oh, this is the power dynamics and like this is the attachment styles. Like I have been in that study like as a human, as a woman, as a little girl for all my life. Now, like looking back from this power dynamic and attachment style and leadership perspective, so much that I'm learning from my own life. And I am really wanting to go deep in this because we are being invited to relate differently, lead differently, create different communities. Last episode, I talked about the leading edge is the community also, right? Like coming back into community, relating to the community. And what happens in the community? There are all sorts of power dynamics that are happening in the community. And if we want to create a whole higher octave of life, we all get to look at how we are relating to power, our power, and power itself. And what is the dance? Do we know how to also dance in the dominant and the submissive? Because when we're listening, when we're like, you are now in this moment, I am getting the attention. I am the dominant in this, you and I, whoever it is, like on the receiving end, on end of this, I have your attention. So I am dominating your attention, right? And you're listening, you're receiving. And then when you are talking, it shifts. Like it is very intuitive, these like, dominant and submission in the relationships, in the communication, in the information exchange. Yet, if we are moved through life with so many like shadows and unconscious desires and or patterns in life, we play out our unchecked, unlooked, unexplored power dynamics that we learn from the baby and up, like from the attachment wound becomes the all the way down that we need to go and see how we are relating to power. And I have been tracking this energy in my life, and this has been an ongoing practice, but like it is very like up in this moment, taking space. And I talk about this in my teaching, taking the rightful space, not taking space for the sake of taking space, not taking space because you can, but taking the rightful space and like being attuned to the space, to the conversation, to the dynamics that are happening, and dancing in that and leading from that edge. And I have been noticing this part of me that is like a little like retracting in the face of dominance. And when I track it to my life, it makes so much sense because my father's energy was very dominant. And, there are dynamics that happen if I am not like operating from secure attachment to my power. Or power, or my medicine, or what I'm here to bring, which I think it's an ongoing journey. There are parts of me still not feeling safe to be seen in my power. And I play that out. And it plays out. It's a very nuanced experience and it's very subtle. I don't think anybody, I'm not going to say anybody, but like in the experience that I had that brought this into my attention was not visible. And I was like tracking that. And, if we are, and I do tend to attract powerful visionaries, powerful medicine women, guides, mentors, artists, creatives that are that have been doing their work, that are here to track energies, that are here to, like, literally create something that doesn't exist by deep communion with the divine, with the emergent field, with the unseen. It is important for us to really cultivate secure attachment to our own power, but also learning how to dance with that in different spaces, the attunement, like, to the energies that are happening around. And not that this wasn't important, this is like part of our healing process, but as it relates to us being in powerful communities, co-creating and leading together, we got to be aware of the conversation of the dom and sub dynamics within the relationships, and also knowing when we are unconsciously doming the space, and when we are unconsciously retracting and, like, being a submissive while our medicine is needed in this space. Does it make sense? It does make sense, yes. So this is this study that I decided to go deep into for myself, for literally bringing this level of teachings into not only our containers that we create, but also to life. Because I do see, not too, like, far future, us having to come to communities in, like, building a community garden, like creating villages. And how do we relate? These people that we are going to be interacting with are also going to be powerful in their center, creatives, leaders in themselves. How do we relate to other leaders when we are not the dominant center of the container, when we are in the dance with other powerful beings? I think it's a very important conversation to have, and contemplation, and, like, internal work to cultivate. If you're talking about synarchy, if you're talking about synarchy in the conversation of gene keys, and I highly recommend studying that, because it's leading together. And it doesn't mean that everybody has a say. There's still, like, there's still the power dynamics happening, and whoever's, and I do have the curiosity around this whole leadership dynamic, because my life's work is 7, and I'm a leader. I'm a double Leo, like leadership, and I'm a leader. I create, I explore consciousness, I birth consciousness, I like, heal myself, and like, explore the edges of myself. So it is very important for me as a leader of myself in my life, this conversation of, okay, if we're talking about coming together and leading together, how is it going to look like? Are we even going into the conversations in the internal landscape of tracking, like, the energy? And are we learning how to take the rightful space inside of us? Because, I mean, like, as a Leo, it's very, leadership oriented, like, sign. And I have been always a leader in my life, energetically. And sometimes, like, it was, like, very self-serving, right? So I have been really dissecting and, like, peeling the layers of this onion of myself and my shadows, like, for so long now. And yeah, I see this to be one of the most important and leading edge conversations that we can have at this juncture in human evolution, as the new octaves are opening for us. And how are we reimagining the power dynamics, and how to be in power and take our space, and know when to give space to other people. This is a dance, and And it is like really very communal experience. You cannot like really have this experience on your own. Like I can sit here and talk about this for hours, but I won't be able to track this energy until I put myself in the rooms, until I, like go and relate to other people, which everything is, especially like power dynamics, relational, right? And it's different. It's different. And sometimes we do not open our power because we know how powerful we are and we don't want to dominate the space. Like, how do we relate to our power? How intimate we are with our internal power? I think it's a very, very, very important conversation to have. And this was one of the conversations we had in my Master Muse today. And I'm in a deep research and see like where it actually takes me, because I really see that to be the leading edge of leadership, visionary leadership, as we are co-creating new spaces, new ways of being, new worlds for ourselves and for everyone that is willing to come in there and live with us in that world. So yeah, and as with any edge, any threshold, it comes down to the nervous system and the patterning, the programming, and the rewire process. And those are the teachings. Like, it's an ongoing thing, and I live that work. I live my work. And sometimes it is I don't know, like sometimes it is easy to just say the thing, but to live the thing and lead from that is part of the era that we're in, an epoch, as Richard Rudd says. Like, we're really moving into a whole new way of existence. So I think that's where I'm gonna end today. It's like already 27 minutes here. And these are the conversations that I'm having inside of my circles these days, and more, like so much happening. And I can't wait to actually just like come here and like riff and share with you and pollinate my ideas and inspire ideas and inspire conversations, inspire community, and cultivate community. That's like really what I want and my desire, heart's desire. And if you are a woman who have been doing this kind of work, and you want to be in these kind of containers where your master, your mission, and your medicine can be refined, can be amplified, check my links. There is a year-long Master Muse that I guide. It's a piece of art, and it doesn't exist anywhere else on the internet or in the world, the way in which that I lead in this Master Muse. And then there are free offerings if you want to come in and see how I teach, and the Dharma Body teaching, which is like a really embodiment of our calling. And I like saying it, the taking the shape of our calling, because it's an ongoing shape shifting of our coming into our power, our center, our expansion, our like field, our medicine. And these are the conversations we have in there and more. And if you're interested, just check out my links or comment below what inspired you in this conversation. And also share with me, what are the parts of your story that is easier for you to share with the world? And what are the parts of your story that is not so easy? And then that's your edge, maybe. Or maybe those stories don't want to be told. Like, really being also real with yourself. So, comment below. Like, let's be in conversation. I'm so excited to be building community here on YouTube. And I'll see you next time. Blessings.